With the celebration of Christ's birth just behind us and the start of a new year, some of our Birmingham Christian family friends have taken a minute to give us some encouraging words that we can use all year long. So, you want to kickstart your year off? Here's some motivation from our friends. Take a listen.
Hi, I'm Lacey Grohl. I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones, and a quote that means a lot to me is, "You will never influence the world trying to be like it." It's just a good reminder to me as I go through my week. I hope it's an encouragement to you.
Yes, Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For God has a plan and a hope and a future for our well-being." So every day I get started, I know that, hey, this is His plan, and I've got to fulfill what He's got set for me today.
I'm James Poe, the director here at the Shapiro Men's Center of the Jimmy Hale Mission. And when I think of what motivates me and motivates so much of my staff here at the Jimmy Hale Mission, it comes down to what our program is, which is reclaiming hope. And so the thing that we look for each week, even more so than what they actually do in the classrooms, I look at a lot of body language, and I look to see our guys come here without hope. And so as we're going through that, I'm looking and seeing the process and seeing the shoulders go back and seeing the heads come up. And I'm seeing that they not only are beginning to get hopeful, but then we see that light bulb go off when they're actually reclaiming that hope.
Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's a daily basis for me because when I get out on the job and the tough task, the heat or whatever the elements may be, or looking at that interesting electrical project that someone may need, I always feel that I can lean on my faith to get me through everything that I need, and He gives me the strength to make it happen.
There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes you just have to go turn it on.
Well, first I'd like to say I am most motivated and encouraged through Scripture. And one of my favorites to share is Psalm 139:16, that reminds us that before we took our first breath, God saw every day of our life and wrote it in His book, which tells me He has a plan for every one of those little bumps, bruises, and bang-ups that occur in life. And we're not ever on plan B if we're in Him and staying with Him and what He wants for us.
Well, a verse of Scripture that comes immediately to mind when I'm asked what motivates me and keeps me going, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I claim it every morning when I get up. That helped me in the classroom. It helps me in just my day-to-day life. And when you're in doubt and you go, can I really do, can I do what you're asking me to? Claim Philippians 4:13.
Whenever you have fear or if you doubt it, just remember, God got it.
I always get back to the faith, family, and friends. Always those three. And food, since it's Thanksgiving as well. So, to live in a nation like we do, not everybody gets to celebrate Thanksgiving and all of those. So really blessed to be in the United States with my friends and my family and able to practice my faith.
Well, Dr. Forrest Shackley said once in his book, Thoughtsmanship for Wellbeing, your future life will be exactly what you think to make it. Your future life will be exactly what you think to make it. And these just remind me that whatever we're thinking about is what we get. So Dr. Wayne Dyer said something very similar, that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So you have to really be intentional about what you're thinking of, so that the future you're creating today for tomorrow is what you want it to be. You can create really good obstacles that, impede you, or you can create marvelous things that help you and your community. So it's up to you.
My thought is, when you meet people, you never know what God is going to do with those connections. And so it's a lot of fun. You mentioned it this morning when we met, and then how God's just used our business relationship and friendship. And so I'd encourage you to look for those opportunities as you meet people to see what God's going to do with those connections.
Well, Proverbs 3:6, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths.
Well, my life verses come from Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 through 8, but basically says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but consider the interests of others before your own in humility. And that's That's really what I try to do.
Hey, Rick Burgess with the Rick Burgess Show for the Midweek Motivation. This is easy for me. I can't tell you how many times I cling to John 16:33. When Jesus said, I say this so that you'll have peace. I mean, isn't that what we're all looking for? And he said, so what he was about to say would bring us peace. And he said, in this world, you will face tribulation. I don't have to tell you that. You're either in it, you just came out of it, or you're heading into it. And Jesus says, so don't be surprised by that. But he said, but thanks to him, when you're in tribulation, never lose peace in your heart or joy in your heart, because he has overcome the world. No matter what you're going through, thanks be to Jesus, he has overcome it.
I know you shared with me that you do something every morning to encourage your students and faculty, everyone really, right?
Right. We have our morning prayer, and at the end of the prayer, we all recite together this statement: be it known to all who enter here that Christ is the reason for this school. He is the unseen but ever-present teacher in its classes. He is the model of its faculty and the inspiration of its students.
Yes, one of my favorite scriptures is, we love because he first loved us. That's in 1 John. And what a reminder for all of us, the need to love others.
And with this being Black History Month, I wanted to bring you a quote from Phyllis Wheatley, an enslaved child who came over, and she is the first published African-American poet. She said, in every human breast, God has implanted a principle which we call love of freedom. It is impatient of oppression and pants for deliverance.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been teaching school since 1989, and going through school, getting masters and specialist degrees and things like that. And everybody always asks you, what is your philosophy of education? And some people want to sound so smart and so, educated, and they come up with things that nobody really even understands. And then one woman looked at me one day and she goes, you know what mine is, my philosophy of education? She said, whatever works, do it. And I said, that is the smartest thing I've ever heard. And that is how I live my life, and that is how I teach school, and that is how I run this program. Whatever works, whatever makes sense, whatever is logical and is the right thing to do, that's what we're going to do. So that is my motivation for the week.
I'm going to remind everyone to be salt and light. That comes from Matthew 5:13 through 16.
I just want to remind everybody that you can be stronger every day and do hard things and have hope, and remember that everything is figure-outable.
Thank you for asking me to share just a moment. And we're here at Hearts of Hope for the Foundry, and listening to today and the theme for today, walking in the light. I want to share that encouragement that no matter what the day feels like to you as you started out, look up, because this day is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. So remember, and this is what we learned today, you are not who you say you are or who others say you are. You are who God says you are. So walk and be blessed.
Hi, I'm Edie Hand. I am the founder of Women of True Grit. And I wanted to share with you today, since I was here at Ivy Green at Helen Keller's birthplace. I love her quote, when one door of happiness closes, another opens. But if you stare too long at the one that's closed, you'll miss the one that's open. That makes me think about the scripture in the Psalms 37:4. Delight in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. And I hope that my pearls of hope that's coming up soon at the American Village will give you just that you can just slow down and listen to God's wisdom and find better tomorrows just for you.
So there's a teaching that I do with our ladies, and here today we're celebrating the Women's Recovery Program at the Foundry. And the quote is really simple, but it's kind of profound at the same time. If you do the right things the right way, right things happen. And so you can imagine with the ladies that we serve that are battling addiction, they've kind of done things the wrong way and had bad results. And so I think that's good medicine for all of us, that when we do the right things and we do them the right way, we can expect good things to happen.
Absolutely, and we're standing here in front of Washington Hall, home of George and Martha Washington. But I want to read you a quote today from Abigail Adams, the power behind John Adams, I want to say. She said, if particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice, no representation.
The word for today is a reflection on good counsel.
And I have a quote that I shared with our team at the Foundry Ministries last week. And it says this: to be listened to and to be heard, to be supported while you gather your forces and get your bearings. A fresh look at alternatives and new insights, learning some needed skills, to face your lion, your fears, to come to a decision, and the courage to act on it and to take the risk that life demands. That's UCLA's David Palmer. And so we shared that with our team at the Foundry about the importance of having good counsel in your life. And I am thankful to God and the men that He put in my life that gave me good counsel.